What's up guys, Eric Bray, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Tuesday, March the 10th. Actually on Taneycomo today, just finished a trout trip. The trout are out of their minds. They're absolutely crazy. I think we had 50 or 60 trout this morning. Have been on Table Rock 5 of the last 7 days, so have some intel for you there. Before we get into the Table Rock report, and speaking of intel, I do want to show you guys about the maps on the Table Rock Fishing Intel website. Go ahead and check that out. Alright guys, going to talk a little bit about the map section on the Table Rock Fishing Intel page. If you go from the home page, you click on Maps, and that's going to bring you up. You've got some choices once it comes up. We do have the full navionics on there where you can go in, zoom out, and kind of look at the different navionics maps. We do have the brush pile map that the Department of Conservation has put out, so that's available to you. The marked maps that we have are going to be separated by spring, summer, fall, and winter. So we'll just take spring and click on that. And then once you get into each season, spring, summer, fall, winter, you'll be divided up into different areas of the lake. So let's say we're going to fish the White River. And then if you scroll down, the first thing you'll see is that this is a section of the lake that is covered. And then each section of the map is going to be highlighted as well. So let's just say you're going to fish, oh gosh, I don't know. Let's say you're planning on fishing around Big Creek, and you want to see what a map looks like for Big Creek. So you just click on that map, and it may take a second or two to load. It may be a little bit hard to see on here, so I'll kind of zoom in a little bit so you guys get a little bit better idea and adjust a few things so you can see. But like right here, we're looking at Lower Big Creek in the spring, and it is an avionics map, so it does give you all of the different detail of the topographical detail and everything else. But then when you look at other things like over here, and again this may be a little hard to see on here, but trust me, it's a lot easier when you're sitting in front of your laptop. This is crankbait areas, so there's a good crankbait bank, another one over there, another one over there. Jig and shaky head banks over here. Stick bait or jerk bait type banks are going to be along here, spawning pockets, so on and so forth. So each section of the lake broken down, number 1 by season, number 2 by the major arm of the lake, and number 3, it's broken up into smaller chunks so you can look at the different chunks of the lake, get a feel for what's going to work whatever time of year you're fishing. So guys, hope this helps you out. If you haven't seen this is on the pro side, so it does cost the $45, but there's over 300 maps on here that you guys can look at, kind of get a feel for where the fish are going to be, how you're going to catch them before you even come to the lake. So there you go, you guys can see we've got a lot of detailed maps available on there. Shows you locations by season, shows you the type of baits we've been catching them on by season. A lot of information for you on there. So I know it's $45 to join, but the maps alone are probably worth the $45. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about kind of on the fence whether or not you're going to join or not. We are going to be doing a complete series on prepping for the Kevin Van Dam Big Bass Tour that's coming the end of this month, beginning of next month. We'll have at least 2, probably 3 videos for you, plus some other articles written specifically about that. So if you're fishing that, keep that in mind as well. We will have a complete series of articles on that. As far as Table Rock is concerned right now, our current lake level, we're at 915.5, which puts us about a half a foot above pool. Beaver's about 6 foot high still, but they are draining it down. Bull shoals, they've got it down to about a foot high. Hopefully we're not going to get a ton of rain out of this system that's coming in this week, but if we do, at least we're not already high. Water temperature, we're right around 50 degrees. 49.5, 50 degrees seems to be the norm. You get up in some of the rivers, you'll see some 52s, 53s, but for the most part, we're right around 49.5 degrees all over the lake. But if you're coming down, so you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, I can tell you the lower end has kind of been the toughest end of the lake this past week. I had, like I said, 4 or 5 trips last week, and the 2 toughest ones I had were definitely in the dam area. You really need wind, you really need cloud cover for those fish down by the dam with that water being so clear to bite. But if you're going to fish the dam area, you definitely want to have a jerkbait tied on, Spromic stick, Megabass Vision 110. Look for those fish to be on secondary points in the larger creek arms, close to spawning coves, about 5 to 15 foot deep. Timber doesn't really seem to matter. Actually, the flatter points seem to be a little bit better. Can catch them on a swim bait there as well. I've been throwing the 2.8 from Kitech matched up with the Jewel Gem Shad in the 2.0, the smaller one, doing well with that. Catching a few on an A-rig still, but I feel like that A-rig bite is probably going to be going away. I think you can still catch them on it. You can probably catch some bigger fish on it. It's just we're not getting the numbers that we were getting, say, a month ago on it. So keep that in mind. And if it's calm and sunny, you don't have any wind, I would definitely pull out either a net head, use the Jewel net head, use a tube, using the Jewel rattling tube head, a squirrel head matched up with whatever you like to throw it, or the Pee-wee football jig. Fish those same secondary points, back out a little bit. You're going to find moss all the way out to about 12 foot deep, so you're going to have to back out, get outside of that moss. But if you don't have wind, you don't have clouds, those fish will be out that deep anyway, so keep that in mind as well. And go up into the Kimberling City area, same sort of bites are going on. Secondary points close to spawning pockets seem to be where most of the fish are ganging up. We're not catching a lot of big fish, but we are catching some keepers out there. Jerkbait for sure, Megabass Vision 110, Spromic stick, still catching a few on the A-rig as well, catching them on a swim bait too, the Kitech 2.8 with on a Gem Shad 2.0 seems to be key. Get that smaller bait, smaller head, and if you don't have wind, you don't have cloud cover, you definitely want to be throwing net head, shaky head, the squirrel head, the tube on the rattling tube head, or the Jewel Pee-wee football jig. The moss is not as bad there. It's about 10 foot deep, so anywhere from about 10 to 20 feet deep on those secondary points. And remember, it's the flatter points close to the spawning pockets that have been best. Open in the James River, guys, and you definitely want to have a jig tied on. Either a Jewel Pee-wee football jig or the Jewel Pro Spider jig. These fish really seem to be starting to stage up and move up into in close to the spawning pockets on those secondary points. Moss is not nearly as bad up there as it is in the Kimberling or down by the dam. Most of the moss comes out to about 8 feet, so you can fish a bait on the bottom there. Secondary points 8 to about 15 foot deep seems to be the primary depth that we're catching them on. You can catch them on a jerkbait as well, especially if you get some wind or some cloud cover. You'll definitely see some jerkbait fish show up. Spromic stick, Megabass Vision 110, 5 to 10 foot deep if it's windy. Catch them on an A-rig up there too. A lot of fish coming on an A-rig up there this past weekend. Same sort of banks. Everything seems to be moving towards those secondary points close to those spawning pockets, so keep that in mind if you're going up the James this weekend. Go up into the White River, you definitely want to have a jerkbait tied on. Spromic stick, Megabass Vision 110. Look for those fish to be shallow if it's cloudy and windy. Most of them in less than 10 foot of water. Secondary points close to spawning pockets. You don't have the clouds, don't have the wind. Throw a Ned rig, throw the squirrel head, throw a tube, throw a Pee-wee football jig. Moss is out to about 10 feet, so you'll need to concentrate on that area from 10 to about 15 foot deep. But definitely want to be working these secondary points right now. That seems to be key. It's really where these fish are starting to show off. Guys, we are about halfway through March. Fish are moving, bite's getting much better. Starting to see a lot of movement of fish, really starting to see some better days. Having some bad days, I mean, it's still March, water's still 50 degrees, so some days are good, some days are bad, but it consistently is getting better. If you guys are coming down, say you're fishing a derby, you got a derby coming up and you want to pre-fish for it, great idea, give me a call. Want to just go out and catch some fish and have fun? And now's a great time to do that. Now through March and April through May is the best time to fish Table Rock. So if you're thinking about coming down, you want to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com, and either shoot me an email or book online. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, thanks for watching the videos. Take a minute to subscribe if you haven't done that. I do appreciate that. Take a minute to check out Table Rock Fishing Intel as well. I've got a lot of information on there, a lot of stuff to help you catch fish, so check that out. But guys, thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.